shit. It's all
Well,
gone.
mine's even worse. Well, this is probably the maximum hair length that I'm comfortable with. I've had it longer, but I just look like a hippie.
Nice. I reckon, not far off shaving my head, so
Oh, sweet. That'll make us look a
Yeah.
bit different.
yeah, that will really differentiate us.
We're also
What's going
both
on, man?
wearing black today.
Oh, I know. Both curly hair, hats, wearing black. Gee.
What is going on? Not much, man. I'm in Hoi An. Almost said Hanoi. Similar
It's
names.
the hottest
Was
water
just
I've ever swum in Hoi
the
An.
hottest water. Really? I haven't actually been to the beach yet.
Yeah.
Really? Is it really warm?
When I went there, it was, yeah. But that was now over a decade ago. But I remember getting in the ocean and being like, wow, the ocean's hot here.
Whoa. Fair. I was in Goa not long ago, and the water was warm there. Almost frustratingly.
You have been all over in the last couple months between our episodes. Give me a rundown.
Yeah, crazy. Well, Lou and I are sort of just we're remote now, so we want to be sticking around in one place as long as we can. But we're kind of, in truth, we're like we're on travel visas, so we're traveling and kind of working as we go. We're trying to spend as much time as we can in Vietnam. We love Vietnam. It is one of the most beautiful countries in the world. We love the people, we love the food, and it's just a great spot. So we're here in central Vietnam now, Da Nang, Hoi An. We're in Hoi An. We're sort of thinking that we're going to be here for a bit. Might go to Thailand for my birthday at the end of February, but
Epic.
generally we're here, and maybe
What day is your
Thailand as
birthday?
well. 24th of Feb.
Brilliant. I'll put it in the calendar. Be
Um,
sure to send you a message.
31, bro.
Wow.
31. I can't believe it.
Really solidifying yourself in the 30s.
I can't believe it. You know, I didn't actually get that up in my head about 30, but I was having a bit of insomnia the other night. And I was like, did not need to be thinking about my age. But I was like, fuck, I'm 31 this month.
I just cracked 30.
Did you?
I'm about
How's that
3
feel?
weeks off 30.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Thanks. I didn't realize we were so close together. Feels pretty good. It was the most support that I've ever received, like thematically in birthday messages. Everybody was like, you're entering the best decade of your life. Like, this is where life starts to make sense. Like, 30 is
Yeah.
awesome. And I was like, wow, okay. Nobody ever said that when I turned 28 or 25. So on that realm,
Yeah.
excited. But yeah, at this stage, just straight into the grind of 30.
Yeah, I think, bro, if you're happy with yourself and like who you are and where you're going and the people you got around with you and stuff, I think 30s is the best. It's like it's the decade,
Yeah.
because the people you're with or the people you're surrounded. This is generally, you know, some people obviously aren't all that happy in the 30s, you could say, but if you're, you know, the people you're hanging around with, they're the ones that are sticking around for good. They're your good friends. You're sort of settling into something maybe that you are happy with. You start being a bit more sensible maybe with your money, which is like a good thing. And all the hard
Maybe.
work that you put in your 20s starts to work out. Yeah, I think it's a good decade. So far, it's been good anyway. 11
Sick.
months in.
Yeah, you're like 1 year ahead of me. So I'll just take your word for it.
It's good. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. I like it. I want to take a moment to talk about That's Runnable Coaching. And honestly, it's the reason this podcast exists. I am a coach first. The whole goal of this show is to help you become a stronger, more capable, more durable, and more grounded runner. Not just for the next race, but for the long term. Because if you're listening to this, you probably love running. And if you love running, You probably want it in your life for years, maybe decades. But longevity doesn't happen by accident. I've seen too many runners break down physically or mentally because they never built the right foundations. That's exactly what That's Runnable Coaching is about. Helping runners build strength-led, sustainable training practices so they can feel confident in their bodies and excited about what they're capable of. The main way to work with me is through the Coaching Hub. It's a membership platform that combines structured running and strength programming with a full library of resources covering mobility, mindset, and training principles, plus a community of runners all trying to build something lasting. Whether you're training for your first big race or you're an experienced ultra runner, the focus is durability and longevity. I've also recently opened a very limited number of one-to-one coaching spots. This is a more hands-on, personalized experience, and I'm only working with a very small number of athletes. There are currently 2 spaces available for this. So if you're ready to become a more durable runner and build a practice that lasts, you'll find all the links in the show notes. I really believe that the Coaching Hub is somewhere that you can come and establish and instill sustainable running practices that last a lifetime. So if you're sick of feeling fragile and underconfident and uncertain about your training, go to the show notes, check out the links. I'd love to work with you. Just a quick little interruption. I just want to talk about Innovate, the sponsor of this episode. Innovate have been sponsoring the podcast for a while now. If you've been listening, you'll know how much of a fan I am of Innovate. Innovate were born in the Lake District. That's a hilly region, mountainous region here in the UK, and it gets quite a lot of rain. Pretty infamous for the amount of rain it gets, actually. And so as a shoe designer, a shoemaker, they're testing their shoes on muddy terrain. And for a lot of you right now, it'll be winter. There'll be a frustrating amount of mud and you'll be running through all sorts. The dedicated amongst you will be getting out there and doing it no matter what. And you want decent shoes on your feet. Look no further than Innovate if you want some proper lugs, trail shoes that are actually built for all the terrain. Go to innovate.com, inov8.com. Use the link in the show notes to get the 15% discount. There has been a little bit of a problem with the Runnable discount, I should tell you that. Basically, it was listed on a bunch of like coupon websites, and so fraudulent activity has been taking place. So we're trying to protect it from just being overused, but we want you guys, the listeners of this podcast, to benefit from the discount. So go to the link in the show notes to find the discount code and go to innovate.com, inov8.com. Buy yourself some proper trail shoes with proper lugs for proper grip in muddy, playful terrain. We want to encourage you to get out there, be playful, get muddy, and enjoy the trails. Okay, back to the show. How are you, man?
I'm good. January's been a huge month for me. Turning 30. I had the official launch for Notes Running, so that was big. And when I say official,
Amazing.
it was like we actually had our own stock ready to go, whereas previously we were just running off pre-orders. So I guess there's like more risk in that and more unknown, but it's also great for servicing the consumer because you're like, well, if you order, you get stuff in like a week's time. So that was really cool. And then, I'm moving in with my partner. So that's big.
Wow, huge.
Yeah, never done that before.
Yeah, nice.
So
big move.
January's just been, big thing. So I feel like I feel kind of like in limbo because I'm moving out of my apartment next week and haven't like found my like rhythm so much in this year, but it's been solid. And then, launched a running retreat and that was received well. So for me, that was, well, I just did one post and it sold out, which is like in 8 years of doing retreats is like never happened. So
Amazing, bro.
that was good. And then, yeah, just the dealing with the pressures and self-induced pressures of building a business. So
What are those pressures?
all in all, well, mainly it's like financial pressures, because it's just a lot of like time investment and small amount of money I have, I'm putting that into my business. And I guess the like long tail reward of that, like it will be fruitful in time, but I'm not seeing it this month. And I think at the moment it's just like, I have all this time that I would typically have available to go and find work, make work, source work is like very small at the moment, because I'm putting so much into notes. So yeah, it's just like trying to balance that and just eat rice and run well and get enough sleep.
Living that broke founder life. Yeah,
exactly. But it's for me at the moment, there's also just a lot of joy. It's like I get to write, I get to photograph, I get to run, I get to wear my stuff. So it's like, I like what I'm working on, which is quite good.
Yeah, nice.
And I've been doing speed sessions every week, and that was something that I've like kind of launched, or not launched, but like made available locally in Melbourne. Last year I kind of reflected that I was sick of doing all my speed work solo. And I think when I've been at my fittest, it's because I've had training partners or had accountability or people around. And when I thought about speed work or like an interval session, I was like, it's actually very accessible. An example of a session that I do is 12 by 45 seconds with like 2 minutes recovery. If you absolutely nail, like if you go ham at those 45 seconds, you're going to be busted by the end. But if you were brand new to running, you can do 45 seconds very slowly and then have a stationary or walk recovery. So I was like, and then it's out and back. So I was like, rather than a run club where people do loops, or even if you're jogging at 6 minute pace, it's still fast for some people. I was like, this is actually like a super inclusive format. Yeah. So yeah, I've had my like partner and my friends and some randoms come out and do speed work, and it's been like my favorite running workout of the week. So
that's really cool, man. That's really cool. And you all sort of stick together as well, you know. I think a lot of run clubs, they talk about inclusive paces.
Yeah.
And actually, if you're doing speed work, if it's just reps of a track, or if it's reps of a certain stretch, you're always coming back to the same spot anyway, and you're generally meeting the same people on each rep. And
well, it's because it's on an out and back. It's like then you come back, you give someone a high five, maybe you have someone to chase. Whereas even on like an athletics track, you have this awareness of people like getting away from you, but because you always come back every second rep, you're quite condensed, which is cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, found a lot of joy in that.
Love that. Good little training update. I should give you a bit of a training update for me actually as well, because I've been through, listeners to the podcast, avid listeners to the podcast will know that I've been through a little bit of an identity crisis in the last 2 months. You know what, actually, I posted, I sort of posted a little joke about that. You know, runners always have identity crises. You know, we every now and then we're like, actually, I'm not even sure I'm a runner. Every now and then we're like, actually, I think I hate this. And I was out in Egypt. My January Egypt Dahab trip, bit of free diving, extreme chilling. It was amazing. Saw loads of marine wildlife. Went 32 meters down, bro.
Dude,
32
free diving
meters deep. Yeah.
Congrats.
Crazy. So that was cool. But it's very difficult to balance free diving and running at the same time, because free diving, you know, you don't want to be drinking, you don't want to be exerting too much energy like the day before, for example. You basically need to be in a good physical state to be going deep in the water. And so it's quite difficult to balance the two. So I did do a bit of training, some hiking, I did some runs, but it was absolutely not peak training. It was the opposite of peak training.
Feet up training.
It was freediving. I was freediving. But at the same time as actually dropping my training in the approach to Vietnam Trail Marathon 70K, which is not a smart idea. It was like a 7-week taper.
New record.
New record. I actually I just completely lost interest in the sport. And in my training more than in the sport. And I sort of put that down to overexposure to running. You know, you'll relate to this. We're working in running. We talk about running. We post about running. You write poetry about running. You have a business within running. I'm a coach in running.
I'm surrounded by it.
It's a lot, you know, and we love it. Yeah. It's everything. Exactly. It's everything. And I am so fortunate that running is my main thing and it is everything to me, but it also means that you can risk overexposure to it all. And I think I had that. I sort of had this moment of I need to step back, and even though I've got a race coming up, I just need to chill about it. So I dropped my coach. I said to Jack, I was like, look, it's been great working with you, but I just need to, firstly, I need to be using my own programs just to be in there as a member and really experiencing my own product. And I do want to use my own product. I built something that I would want to use. So I want to use it and feel it and experience it. But also I need to do my own thing, man. I need to be training intuitively and doing my own thing. So I've had a bit of a crisis. And then I went into Vietnam Trail Marathon, 70K, super undertrained. That wasn't the only reason it went badly, because it did go badly. But I also just was unprepared, and you know, it was a tough race. I had stomach issues from about a third of the way through, and fixed them by about halfway, but then was dealing with cramp from about halfway till the end. So it was a tough race. Got to the finish line. But that gave me my spark back, actually. And it made me realize that when you lose your love for running, you really need to focus on what it is you love about running, and you need to nurture those things. You have to nurture the things you love about running. Nurture your love for running by nurturing the things you love about running. And the things I love about running are trail running, ultra events, the community, scenery. It's pushing through when things are hard. It's all those things that I experienced at Vietnam Trail Marathon. And so I'm super grateful for such an amazing experience there. Honestly, unreal, man. I was going through these valleys and mountains and communities, and I was just blown away with emotions, to be honest. I had this moment of runner's high. I had kids chasing me and high-fiving me. Man. There's like water coming down through the valley. Amazing, unique scenery to my right and left. I'd just been through the worst part of the race. I was starting to feel like I could maybe digest some stuff, and I was just reflecting on how much running had given me in my life, and I just started bawling my eyes out, bro. And so I was like crying. I was like, well, I should probably film this. Yeah. And so I got the camera out, and I was sort of recovering from my tears as I did. But I was properly, I didn't have it on camera, but I was properly bawling my eyes out. Just like, I can't believe this is
because because the joy came back.
Yeah, because it was the moment that the joy for running had come back, and I felt ridiculous for ever having lost it. I felt ridiculous for ever feeling a lack of gratitude for it all. Because we can theorize about being grateful for the opportunity to do all these things, and we can say to ourselves, like, I run because I can, and some people can't, and you know, all these sorts of mantras, or you know, ways of thinking about why we're lucky to run, and ways to be grateful for it. But in practice, feeling it is really what you need to keep you going. And it was in that moment that I felt it. I was in Egypt and I was taking it for granted, and I didn't want to do it. And I was talking about wanting to express my full and whole self, which is, you know, more than just a runner. And then all of a sudden I'm halfway through Vietnam Trail Marathon, and I'm just overwhelmed with gratitude for what running's given me. And yeah, it was in that moment I was just sort of like, man, I've got my spark back. It's back, baby. I'm back.
He's back. He's back. Show's
and
done.
so, yeah.
Tommy's back. Let's go.
And that's my show and tell. Actually, So show and tell today
is his spark.
It's my spark.
Oh, come on.
It's my medal.
There it is.
Although I at one stage didn't believe I would finish, I did.
Beautiful.
Look at that. It's a nice medal.
That you need a little note on that. Engrave a little, or stick something to that, because one day down the track you'll forget that this race gave you your spark back.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a whole vlog actually, which I'm going to post on YouTube, and I'm thinking of a title. I don't know if it will be the race that gave me my spark back, or it will be the 70k that felt like 100 miles. I think it'll be the latter. But there we go. What's your show and tell?
My show and tell, because I was terribly unprepared for show and tell, is today, or on the weekend when you shot our next campaign in Notes Running. And yeah, I'm essentially like
we're getting mic. We got craziness on the mic there. What's going on?
Oh wow, sorry. Maybe because I was shuffling paper. All right.
Sorry, listeners.
Sorry, listeners, for being so obnoxious with my show and tell. I'll try and do it delicately and bring paper into frame.
Josh Lynott comes with sound effects of paper.
Yeah. There's one
I love
sheet.
It. So this is
sheets.
This is shoots. This is designs.
Yeah, so
this
is our campaign imagery for our upcoming shoot.
Nice.
Because our model as a brand is to release product every month, which as a result means I need to shoot a campaign every month. But for me, it's like I see photography as an art, and then I've just over time become more and more obsessed with the way people photograph and then what they do after with their work. And a technique that I've been like really curious about to get texture through an image is you take the photo, you edit the photo, you print the photo, and then you scan the photo, and it makes it look kind of like an old school like film photo when it gets posted online again. And it just has these like textures through the image that is like you can't get on a computer. So it's like once it's printed and then it's scanned, you're like scanning the texture of the paper, which is hard to replicate.
Wow.
So that was,
and I love the depth of the shadows as well.
Yeah, it was a very moody shoot because we didn't really get the conditions we wanted. But I think that's also just like true to life. You don't know the conditions you're going to get when you race, when you take photos, or when you go for a run. So I was like, this is what we have to deal with. This is what you'll get.
And what is it, as I don't want to mistitle you, but as the creative director or creative lead, what is it you're trying to achieve with the brand? What are you trying to communicate with the brand image?
Wow, with the brand image. Energetically, I am trying to communicate a sense of slowness. I think moving slow and slowing down is like one of my kind of core values in life. So coming into these campaigns, I bought a camera from the 1980s, a medium format film camera, so you can only take like 10 shots at a time. It's incredibly inefficient. But I think then it's like it kind of lends to this like slowness and imperfection, and ultimately I want there to be like people hopefully buy our product one day to run in, but they also like come to our brand because they're like, oh, there's like art here. And for me, that's the intersection that I want to play in from a like photography and writing side of things. and then the words it's trying to encourage runners to actually think about why they do what they do, to lean into the empathetic and softer side of running that is away from numbers and data and stats. So yeah,
Nice.
it's layered.
I love it,
like
man.
I like layers. I like emotion.
When you were talking there, actually, I have this necklace that I made in Egypt, and it's
freshly made.
It's a I don't know if you can see.
A little bit of coral.
It's coral. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Am I
Nice.
able to zoom?
And you made it.
And I made it. It's
Talented guy.
well, yeah. It's basically coral from Egypt, from where I was in Abu Ghaloum in Sinai, and this place, man, it is. Many people who go there talk of the energy there. And I'm a bit spiritual. I think I usually look for pretty reasonable justifications for feelings. But it is a special place, and there's certainly an energy that runs through this place that I haven't felt anywhere. And it like demands that you pay attention.
Really?
You cannot.
How so?
It's indescribable.
Yeah.
I can't. it just there's this famous wind that breezes through from like down the Gulf. It's super popular amongst like kite surfers, windsurfers, that sort of thing. But there's just this constant breeze, and so there's something about that breeze that's a nice distraction. But when that breeze slows down and becomes more gentle, the feeling of presence is overwhelming, and you don't need to do much to just be in the moment there. So I've now been there 3 times, and almost
is this
feel
one of
like
your
it's
special spots?
Oh, it's special. And
Yeah.
just there as well, on the coast, there is an unreal coral reef full of marine wildlife. And so you can just go diving, snorkeling down there for however long you want. I saw a family of octopi. Saw this
Sick.
octopus, and then next to it was a rock that looked similar to it. I was like, wait, that's also an octopus. And through its tentacles was a little tentacle coming through. So it had baby octopus looking after, and so we were just sitting there looking at this octopus. And then I swam into the coral reef, and down on the bed, I can see this ray, some sort of stingray. And then I'm like, man, this is unreal. And then I see Dory, and there's Nemo, and it just like
The ocean's epic.
unreal, man. And it's just very present. And this is a long-winded sort of way to say this necklace reminds me to slow down.
That was a good
So,
wraparound.
yeah,
Also,
you
'cause
see what I did there?
Yeah, you see what I did there as well? Made a little wraparound necklace.
Wrap around necklace, yeah. So as long as this necklace lasts, which I don't know, I made it, so I don't know how long it will last, but there it is.
Hopefully
Abu Ghaloum's with me until next time I go.
That before coming online or going live with this podcast, you asked me if I'd been consuming much internet, and that made me think of a video that I did consume, which is one of your countrymen. It was this English guy came over to Australia to the beach, picks up an octopus, and he's like, wow, look how beautiful this thing is. Look at the patterns on this. And in his hand, he's got a blue ring octopus, which is one of the most like poisonous and venomous sea creatures in the world. He has no idea, and he's just admiring this blue ring. And then it takes off, and his like little daughter's like by his side, and you can hear her in the video. The comments section is like unbelievable.
That's beautiful, really.
But that, like, man, the level of presence and also ignorance, not even ignorance. He was just like, had no idea what he was holding.
Naivety.
Yeah, naivety.
Just completely just like, wow, just, yeah. Amazing. To be fair, I wouldn't have known either. Like, it's
Yeah.
easy to laugh at him, but I wouldn't have had a clue either.
Yeah, it's super
But he was
beautiful,
holding
isn't
it.
It was in his hand. I'll send it to you after the show.
That's fun. Yeah, I asked you if you had been consuming much internet, or at least specifically running social media content over the last week. So
No, I haven't. I said
So
to
it's
you,
the
I was
fifth.
just being,
It's the 5th of Feb. For listeners, it's the 5th of Feb. So over the last week, there's been some, stuff happening. You've been just watching a bunch of tennis, have you?
I've been deep in the Australian Open. It's here in
Nice.
Melbourne. I grew up playing tennis, and I've just gone full nostalgia mode on my algorithm, watching like the best matches of the early 2000s.
Oh, no way! Amazing.
Yeah, that's where my internet is right now.
That's cool. Do you know what? My internet is predominantly music at the moment, which I'm very happy with. Which is also
Nice.
nostalgic because, like,
Yeah,
I never used to have like running content. I've really tried hard to rid my algorithm of running stuff. It's quite difficult when you talk about running a bunch. It just feeds it back to you. But you can actually now control what Meta gives you. You can put it in your
Interesting.
preferences. And I haven't said running in there. So any time that running comes into my algorithm, it's because it just naturally thinks I need it. But basically, over the last week, and so this is the first hot topic. Over
I'm
the
ready.
last week, there has been. It's delicate, so I'm going to struggle here. There's been a lot of content about stress fractures specifically, and I think the reason there's been content about stress fractures specifically is there have been a number of influencers who have got injured, and they've of course posted about their injuries, and I will name one of them, one who seems to have got most of the slack, who have been on the receiving end of most of the slack. Her name is Mary McCarthy. She's London based, and I believe she has a stage 4 stress fracture, which is a horrible injury, and we wish her all the best with her recovery. Unfortunately, she went on a 50k bike ride after announcing this stress fracture, which of course, most of us would assume is pretty bad practice. You gotta rest, you gotta look after your body. And she, and I think sort of other influencers who I don't really know of, who have also got injured, have just been on the receiving end generally, but also have been named of a lot of ridicule, basically. And that ridicule has been along the lines of, you have an audience, you have a lot of people following you who are very influenced by you, you have power over them, you should be showing up in the right way, you should not be training on your stress fracture, on your injury. And also some of the content, I think, about her has been sort of a little bit like, yeah, no wonder you've got a stress fracture, you're overtraining, all this sort of stuff. I guess I wanted to bring it up because it's just one of these things that has, in my opinion, just got completely out of hand on social media, like unreal levels of just too much, basically, for the poor people on the receiving end. And I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to sort of talk about, firstly, how a lot of people like to jump on a trend, for example. So if they see that something is topical and people are making content about a certain influencer, then they might jump on that trend and be like, oh, I can make also content and give my 2 cents. But I think a lot of these people forget that those people, although they have a huge following, they're just people. They're just making content.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to remember that. It's really important to remember that if you're making content about someone and your content is getting comments under it about that person, that really, you need to be careful, because that person, you don't know what's going through their head. And if I was someone like Mary McCarthy right now, I would feel completely overwhelmed by the backlash, and I would feel overwhelmed by the amount of kind of hate or otherwise that I'm getting. So I just sort of wanted to bring it up, firstly, because I think it's
that was
crazy the amount of content that's out there.
This episode is sponsored by Innovate. I am such a massive fan of Innovate. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while now, you'll know how proud I am that this podcast is sponsored by such an amazing brand. They make such amazing products. They're based here in the UK. And if you're looking for trail shoes, I'm always ranting on about how good the trail shoes are. If you're looking for shoes that are actually going to deal with proper trails, not just like dusty trails, but actual muddy trails. Like if you're out there right now in the winter, you'll be dealing with some serious terrain. So you need some shoes that can actually deal with some serious terrain. None of these like pathetic trail shoes out there. Innovate have proper trail shoes with solid uppers, with massive lugs, the whole range. But also they've got a massive selection of gym kit and hiking gear and everything else that you need for the outdoors. So go to innovate.com, inov8.com. Go to the link in the show notes and you'll have a code there that will be generated for you, and that will give you 15% off. That's innovate.com, inov8.com, and sort yourself out.
I think that was a really great introduction to this topic. And these topics are always tricky because they're incredibly nuanced. Injury is nuanced, and I think kind of like what you allude to as well is like people jump on topics and it's very easy to just be like, oh yeah, it's like she's injured because this or this. Or if it was like anybody, it's like, oh yeah, they did this wrong. But yeah, being an influencer, and if your job is about running and creating running content, it's probably going to like put you in a place of like, I need to run every day. So there's like, that's a pressure to deal with. And then, yeah, that just exacerbates it. But I think there's like side topics here, which I think we'll get into, like the AI, like AI running programs. And I think also the like why this is topical is because from what I understand, like I actually don't know much about Mary at all other than quickly looking up before, but it's like clear she's an influencer or associated with runner. And the little bit that I like consume trying to bring myself up to scratch is that a bunch of runner influencers or affiliates or ambassadors have also been injured. And I think if you were to like look at an injury from like a very basic fundamental level, it's like this imbalance of like stimuli and stress and recovery. Yeah, that I'm not even sure where to like pivot with this because I think there's so many like offshoots of it.
Well, yeah. I think one thing worth discussing, which you sort of alluded to right at the start there, is that these people who are making content about running and about their training, that is their job. Mary McCarthy, for example, as far as I understand, her full-time role, her full-time moneymaker is influencing. It is money from brands. She will work with an agency and she will get paid a very high amount quite a lot of the time because her engagement is incredible for her videos, and a lot of it will be, it's running based. Now she is inspiring a lot of people to get out there, a lot of girls especially, to get out there. She's very marketable in many ways, and so brands will be going after her and trying to, you know, pitch to her and stuff like that. She will absolutely feel the pressure, and let's take it away from her specifically. I don't want to be just using her, it's unfair, but
definitely
influencers will feel a pressure to be making content. They will feel a pressure to be racing. They will feel a pressure to be recording their times and performing and doing all these things and doing interval sessions and especially I think if they're promoting programs like from Runner, they will feel a pressure to be following those programs and following those programs, that sort of thing, potentially. And so I absolutely can imagine that, you know, when you're injured, I know from personal experience, you know, I sprained my ankle at MIUT last year. That was my last injury. And I know from personal experience, like you do feel like, you know, you sort of dry up on your content. You're like, what am I supposed to do?
Absolutely. Even when I DNF'd at Muir, and I was like, I've talked about this race for 2 years. It's taken up so many of my podcasts, so many of my posts. And then I DNF, I'm like, oh, I feel like failure. But it's like, at the end of the day, I'm a human, injuries happen, and a lot of us, we want to try and showcase the best version of ourselves. It's like we want to show that we're getting stronger, that we're getting faster, that we can do crazier things, which is also kind of like an influence of internet and consumption. It's just like running content is just like who can go the furthest, who can go the fastest, who can have the best streak. Like this has always been kind of my like gripe with running internet, running internet basically. And yours too, because it's like we both want to build a sustainable runner, and injuries, I guess, are like the antithesis of sustainability, but they happen. Yeah, I'm still trying to work out where I want to get to.
Well, I think also, and we'll come on to like Runner and AI apps and stuff, because I think it segues nicely. And the way I think it segues nicely is when you're a content creator and you're paid for your content, or at least you're trying to get good engagement and you're trying to be entertaining, that content has to be interesting. If it's training-based content, the training has to be interesting.
Definitely.
The reality
it's like if you do a bigger training session, it's going to come across more interesting than me being like, oh, I did 2 by 1K.
Exactly. Or just like, oh yeah, just another boring easy run.
Yeah, another 30 minutes easy.
Just another boring easy run. Just another boring easy run. And you know, a lot of people come into my programs and they talk about they say it's quite repetitive. And that maybe they've come from some sort of AI program, or they've come from a place where they've been sold this program that's going to make them faster and make them perform, and it's a crazy block for a marathon that they can do, and they can absolutely smash this marathon. That block, that plan that they have is super interesting. It's super exciting. And it's got all of these interval sessions and all of these different, you know, threshold sessions, and everything's super interesting and different and specific and fun. And then they realize when they come to mind that, you know, this is a program designed to be sustainable, to last a lifetime. And if you want to train sustainably, if you want to be running when you're 80 years old, you have to be training frequently. You have to be doing the boring stuff. You have to show up consistently, and you have to keep tapping away. And most of it is boring, uninteresting, and sustainable. And you're not doing speed sessions 4 times a week. You're not doing like all of these interesting different things. No, you're just showing up consistently and tapping away brick by brick.
And often you're not even doing high mileage.
No, quite often you're not.
Because that takes a long time to get to.
Exactly.
And you're not racing that frequently either.
Yes, exactly. And so where it segues is you have these people who are like, my training is really interesting and really exciting. I'm doing track sessions and intervals and thresholds and big sessions and big volume and all these things. And look at my Strava graph, and they're racing loads, and it's like result after result after result. And that's really interesting and great. And then where it segues is platforms like Runner, in order to sell their programs, in order to retain people, in order to keep people for longer, they have to keep it interesting. They have to keep their training plans exciting. They have to throw in exciting things and keep it really interesting. And like, you couldn't do this without us, because you need us, because I'm throwing, you know, you need our intel, you need our intellect and our know-how, because our know-how is full of specific training and interesting stuff. But the reality that a lot of coaches are hiding behind the doors is that really it's quite simple. And it doesn't have to be complicated. And to keep this in your life for a long time and to perform well, you don't have to be doing all of these different, interesting, specific training. And, you know, it's just a case of kind of tapping away consistently over a long period of time. And that doesn't sell. It doesn't sell on social media, and it doesn't sell through the apps.
It doesn't even sell me. And I've been running a long time. And I'm friends with like a lot of elite track runners, and I listen to like what their training is, and it's just like, oh yeah, Tuesday comes around, 8x1K again. And they've done 8x1K for the last like 5 years.
Right, how boring.
Like they've done that. Yeah. It's like so boring, but they've just done that session over and over again. Maybe a tempo effort later and a long run, but they don't miss. But it's so boring.
They don't miss.
But this is, I think this is like the responsibility of the influencer, and almost why I've taken the path that I have, is that it is, for me, the interesting part is like going internal. The interesting part is like learning how to sit with boring. It is learning the importance of training partners, of sleep, of nutrition. And it's like bring excitement in elsewhere, because running is inherently boring. And social media has tried and done a good job of making running seem like really interesting and intense and crazy, and you can do these times and have these unbelievable arcs of improvement. But ultimately it's like running is just like, it is slow growth. And I think like when you're taking on jobs, when you're doing a program like Runner, and you are trying to optimize for like quick growth, then it's like you run a very dangerous gauntlet of being injured, which is like, again, I don't know anything about Mary's life, so whether she's following a Runner program or not, I can't comment. I don't know her external life stresses or influences, but that's the thing. It's like she may be following a running program but may have a huge workload as well. And this is what doesn't get there's no need for Mary to share her life and the nuance of it, but ultimately, because maybe she doesn't, the comment section isn't nuanced either.
Yeah, well, those holding strong opinions online don't have the full story.
They never do. Ever.
They never do. And I was on the sort of receiving end actually this week of some opinions from people who didn't have the full story. And those opinions were fair. That's the thing. And I think a lot of the opinions on this whole kind of like stress fracture discussion over influencers getting injured, they're fair. Like the opinions are fair. Most of them are warnings against overtraining. They are making sure that we're not just blindly following a plan. They're, balancing discipline with overtraining and making sure that we can tune in with our body and make our own decisions on, what a plan is and what a guide is. The difference between AI and an actual coach that you have a relationship with, all these things. These are all absolutely fair. But what I feel quite uncomfortable with and what I don't like is, the targeting of individuals. And I think a lot of people love to hate on influencers because they've got it so good and they're just floundering around making content and getting paid ridiculous amounts for it, which is also fair. But I think, where I'm uncomfortable is just the targeting of individuals. What I love about it all is that, and I saw someone make a post about this actually, we've sort of proven that, runners aren't stupid. And actually, I maybe would have said, before this whole thing, this is what the video was saying, and I agree with, I maybe would have said that like a lot of people are pretty stupid about their training, and I think maybe social media gives that impression. But generally now I'm like, no, people are pretty smart. People know when to pull back. People know that they need sleep, they need to eat well, they need to move, they need to look after their body. People generally want to keep running in their life for a long time, and they don't want to make bad decisions that would stand against that. And I think that's great. And I think that we need to have that discussion more often. And I think this has been a great little opportunity for the running space in the UK to be like, who are we listening to? Who are authorities in the space? Should we listen to people who are qualified, who are actually coaches, who actually care about this sort of thing? Or should we just be listening to influencers? Obviously, we shouldn't be taking influencers' advice on training because they're not qualified to give that advice, right?
It often just comes back to, it's like, it's very easy to blame the influencer, but ultimately we need to come back and be like, are we thinking critically? Because unless this person has a lifetime of experience, or they're well educated on the topic, like properly educated, which is a very few amount of people on the internet, then it's just like, don't listen to it. It's like, go and do your own research. And it's like, look at influencers' entertainment. It's like, don't take their word. It's like, they're entertaining, but also that's it.
And you have to be focused on your own thing. You have to be focused on where you're at right now. What did last week look like for you? How do you feel? And are you able to increase your volume steadily? And just because someone else is doing 100K a week, that doesn't mean you can get there in 4 weeks. That doesn't mean that within 4 weeks you can go from 0 to 100K and then stay there. If someone's doing 100K weeks, they've been doing it for a while. You know, they've been building slowly, brick by boring brick.
Brick, yeah.
Put the Paramore song on. I really, you know, think that I feel positive, to be honest, about the general response, and the sort of takeaway is that people are talking about, if you train like these influencers are training, you can get injured. And you could sort of be like, oh yeah, no shit, Sherlock. But in a way, it's nice to see. In a way, it's like that. And I think that's why a lot of people are sort of responding to it, because people are sort of like, yeah, finally we're seeing, like, I'm glad they were getting results and all good for them. But like, finally we're seeing it affect them, because we know that it's affecting so many others. Before any of this, Runner had a bad reputation for ramping people too quickly. If you go on any of the Runner review sites, review sites on Runner, there's countless reviews there saying like, this ramps too quickly, I couldn't meet the target like paces, all this sort of stuff. It ramps you quickly because it tries to keep it interesting. It gets you doing stuff that's really fast, way too soon. You know, it's not getting you to build frequency, then volume, then intensity. It's throwing in intensity straight away. And it's just not how I would program. And it already had that reputation. And so I was always wary when people said, yeah, I'm using a Runner plan. You know, I think it's a great app, and I think it's a really good guide, and I think people should use it. And if they need a guide, they should use it. But at the same time, they should be going in and using a Runner program once they have the foundations down. And those foundations
huge
are boring.
asterisks there. Really big asterisks. Like once you have the foundation and have done some time in the game and kind of learn the foundational lessons of running first, I would say don't go and learn your foundational work from Runner. And I also, going back to what we're talking about, it's like the thing with Runner or any kind of AI programming is that it's over-indexing on variety and intensity to make something interesting. Whereas if you have a coach and you have somebody human, it's like, that's where the interesting part is, because you get to talk to a human. You get to actually be like, this is my workload, this is my life stresses right now. Maybe you get to ask your coach how they're going, and they're like, oh, I'm in Hoi An. Like, you get to find that out about a human, rather than being like, oh, actually go and train above your current like threshold pace. It's like, That
And
the
I love
most
sharing-
beautiful thing about a coach is that you develop a relationship, whereas you don't get that with an automated program.
Yeah. I love sharing with when a member of the hub messages me and they're having some sort of issue. If it relates to something I've been through or I've had, I love sharing with them that I've had that experience. I love sharing with them that I'm also, you know, reminding them that I'm not AI. I'm also a human. And I can't remember, it was this week someone said something that I was also dealing with. Bunions. The genetic. My mum and brother have bunions. I'm dealing with this. I can just see the start of like what might be a bunion on my right foot. Isn't that mad? I'm 31, and he was like, "Yeah, I got things like, don't worry about it, dude. I'm dealing with maybe that as well. Maybe we need to, wear some minimal footwear or whatever." And he was like, "Oh man, it's so nice to hear that you're also dealing with that," because he thought, I don't know if running's for me because of this. It's like, nah, shut up, man. It is for you. Don't worry. I'm dealing with something like that as well. And so like all these, there's things that we're human, we're working together. I'm learning from other coaches. They're learning from me. My clients are learning from me. They can teach others. Humans are best teaching humans, I think. You can learn a lot from AI and it's not stupid. It's very clever, but it can get it wrong. And I think there needs to be that kind of human element in there.
Definitely. Yeah, I think maybe in years to come, we'll be able to calibrate better, but it's not there yet. So I guess we just got to encourage people to think critically and ask more questions and, find people that you trust and lean into doing research for yourself.
I just started thinking of something, man, that maybe we can kind of finish on. I recently have been trying to go through my DMs on social media, on Instagram, not on TikTok. That's a nightmare. I've forgotten about that app. But on Instagram, I had a period of time where I think I was like a bit phone addicted, and I was like, I just need to, I just need to stop replying to messages on Instagram.
Yeah.
So I stopped for a couple months, and I just sort of replied to a few every now and then. And so people would maybe get lucky if they got a response from me, because I was just sort of replying to maybe like a couple a day. But it meant that I'd missed a bunch. And so I more recently have just been like, do you know what? I'll start diving in and trying to connect with them. And I found some really heartfelt messages in there, and it made me feel really bad, really, because, some people have felt comfortable enough to kind of open up to me. Maybe I've spoken about something that's resonated with them and they wanted to talk about it. And so I wanted to sort of bring up this topic. I think also it relates to kind of what we're talking about with influencers and the responsibility they have. Because I do feel strongly that influencers have a responsibility. I think if you have a huge following,
absolutely, I think you have a responsibility.
Yeah. Do you, is that where you stand on that? Because I think there's a lot of people that don't.
No,
agree with that.
100% think that you have a responsibility, and I like to think that you have a responsibility to try and improve the people in your audience and to make the world a better place. And I think that's what disheartens me about the internet, is that there's people that have an opportunity to do that and they don't. And it's like, if you make content, you are aware that you can develop. Unless your account's on private, that's different. But it's like, if you're on public and you're creating content, you've essentially like signed the terms and conditions that you could build an audience, and with that audience comes, I think, responsibility to like influence properly. And properly can be up for debate, but I think at a very like basic level, it's like, why not try and make people kinder? Why not try and improve them in your like specialty? It's like, try and help people live a better life. And that's like where I stand on a first part.
What I think is, I think what I think is interesting is that you've got kind of two people in the exchange. You've got the content creator, who we would argue has responsibility to communicate in a certain way or to show up in the right way. You do also have the viewer, and that viewer also has responsibility over how much they consume, what they consume, how much they let it influence how they think, and all those sorts of things. And that's what leads me to talk about what kind of saddened me a little bit. I as I said, I was going through my DMs and I had a few messages in there from people opening up about kind of their mental health or how they feel. I've tried to talk a little bit more about my mental health recently on social media. And I saw a bit of a theme, and that theme was that social media is the culprit. Social media makes people feel inadequate. And it makes people, and we've known this for 10, 15 years. It makes people feel inadequate. It makes people feel like they're not doing well enough. It makes people feel like they don't have enough. Like they need the things that other people have to be happy. And I was like, oh, fuck, I feel so grateful for my life. I feel like I'm living an amazing life and posting about it sometimes on social media. And, you know, like, am I making other people feel bad about their own life? You know, is it my responsibility to hide my life in some ways?
I don't think you should hide your life at all. But I also think there's like a lack of accountability if people say that social media made me sad, or has like social media is the reason I have poor mental health. It's like you have the ability to put your phone down, you have the ability to pick up a book, and yes, it is addictive, and yes, it gives you dopamine, but it's like there is a level of accountability that comes on the consumer.
Yeah.
And I think like it's tricky because if you watch the like documentaries, it's like these apps are designed to like keep reeling us in.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again, but there's no kind of guide about how to consume, or to be like, yeah, take this with a pinch of salt, or to, it's not like on every disclaimer. It shouldn't be that every video you put up has a disclaimer, this is only 1% of my life.
Yeah.
Or this is just a highlight.
Well, that's another thing as well, not to kind of veer off too much to a tangent, but I received a bit of backlash on, well, not a bit of backlash, I don't want to exaggerate again for the sake of podcast conversation. I received a couple of messages from people saying like that I was glorifying, like pushing through no matter what on my race. For anyone listening, if you haven't seen any of the content I've made, it was kind of graphic. I did have footage of me sort of puking a little bit.
I haven't seen it, but I'm fired up because I'm just like, it's racing as well. It's like,
yes,
part of racing is pushing through discomfort. And
yes, exactly.
I don't know everybody has a different relationship to racing, but for me, it's like, I'm there to hurt because I want to find my limit.
Exactly. And there is a fine balance here, you know, and someone messaged me and they would like take it from me as someone who's been hospitalized and, you know, knows people who've had really bad sort of situations because of this. And I think it's a really fair response. Like I said earlier, it's a lot of these concerns are very fair. And I absolutely don't want to be seen to be someone who is advocating for pushing through at all costs, because the costs are too high. And I'm not that. Everything I do, everything I speak about, I try and speak about sustainability in the sport, keeping it in your life for the long term. That is my mission. I'm on a mission to keep it in my life for the rest of my life and to help others do the same. That's what I'm all about. So it saddened me that was like the case. But I also can't caveat every video I put out.
No,
I can't caveat it by
your
saying,
life.
by the way, this might look rough, but I was with the medical team every time, you know, and we were working through, and it was actually safe, and I didn't make any unsafe decisions, and you know, I will.
But even
do
if
that
you did
occasionally.
make unsafe decisions, even if you weren't with the medical team, it's like that is, again, you would have signed a waiver to do that race, and that's part of it. It's like it is unsafe.
It is in a way, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the best thing that you could have done for yourself would be to not race 70K and just wake up, go for a 30-minute jog, have a good brekkie, and get 8 hours of like uninterrupted sleep, you know?
Bro, that's a whole discussion. I think it's so interesting because like actually the most healthy way to be is to lack extremes.
Yeah.
Is to sort of just generally do light exercise most of the time, maybe do some strength training and like eat a healthy life and don't overeat, you know, like it's moderation. The most healthy way to be is moderation.
Go walk some hills and like never break a sweat. Like my Chinese medicine practitioner says you can go in a sauna, but not once you start sweating. And I like,
no, I want to push, bro.
Yeah.
I want to go in. Yeah. I mean, part of it is that though, like that's my interest in all this stuff is discovering what you're capable of. And that's so psychologically, it's so beneficial to get to the finish line. And so I push to the finish line, but I can't caveat everything. Anyway, I guess I just wanted to finish on like a reminder. I wanted to finish on a reminder because, you know, you might be watching like social media, and I'm the same. I can watch too much social media and I can start comparing myself to others and start thinking that like I'm not enough and I haven't done enough, and you know, I feel inadequate and I feel like my life's not interesting and all those sorts of things. But it's all bullshit, man. It's all bullshit. And you have to remember that everyone else's life has nothing to do with your life. Like it has literally nothing to do with your life. Your interests and your desires and what you want from your life and where you want to be and who you want to be around, all those things, everything you want for your life is yours. And you need to be chasing that like your life fucking depends on it. And no one else's life, whatever they're doing, whatever they have, relates in any way to yours. You're just making comparisons. So if you feel trapped in this like incessant comparison cycle and this feeling of inadequacy because of social media, put your phone down. Go outside and live your own life. I really want to like encourage people to stop watching my content if my content is making you feel bad. It's not designed to make you feel bad. I don't want to make you feel bad. Like that's not.
But it might. And it's like I go to the
but
movies and some movies make me feel bad. But I don't go and hate the movie. I'm just like, well, damn, they made me feel something. And
some Hollywood stars, I'm jealous of some Hollywood stars and how fit they are. That's not, you know, that's my problem, not theirs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're all victim to that. You know, social media and overuse of it is a dangerous thing. And we have this beautiful opportunity, like you say, to read a book, to put your phone down, to go outside, to live your own life, to be in your own life. And you can be taken out of that very quickly with social media.
But ultimately, when we do that, it's the book becomes the mirror or nature becomes the mirror. And it's like if you go and pick up a book and you start to like feel this discomfort or this sadness, or you have this awareness of your like attention span, the book is actually becoming the mirror of what's under the surface.
Yeah.
Because there's no scapegoat anymore. There's no distraction.
Yeah.
And again, like a boring running plan, people don't want to sit with that.
Yeah. Get to a place where, although you once feared silence, you now crave it.
Yeah. Or you're just happy to sit in it if it comes by.
We concluded on slow down.
Yeah. Yeah.
which is really well aligned with Notes branding. And
Yeah,
we
and
promise
yours.
this is not sponsored, this podcast.
Not at all.
By
Not at all.
Notes. But go and visit Notes. What's the website?
Notesrunning.com.
Notesrunning.com.
When will this go out?
This will go out in, I don't know at this stage. We might be doing a couple of episodes per week for a bit because we got a few guest episodes. I need to do a race recap.
Huge.
So
Well,
I'll
it goes out before the
Why are you asking?
14th. Because we open our website on the 14th of every month. It's not always open.
Okay, it will. No way. That's cool.
Yeah.
So it's open in Windows.
Yeah. For like a couple days.
Ah, that's cool. So when is it open?
February
each month?
14th. And if this podcast doesn't go out, then come back March 14th.
That's so sick, dude. I love that.
So
Well,
small
You heard it.
small quantities. Hopefully it sells out and then come back again.
Nice. Well, man, it's been a pleasure. We left it quite long this time.
I know, but you had an identity crisis to work through, so it's okay.
I had an identity crisis. You're launching a brand. What can we do? You know, much. We had a
New
lot
year.
to talk about.
That was great.
Yeah, happy
Dude, thanks for having me.
2026.
Once again, Year of the Horse, let's go.
Is it? What does that mean?
Yeah. It's a Chinese Year of the Horse,
Yeah,
which means
I know.
we're going to...
What does it mean?
It means there's momentum coming for us. Lots of
Yeah.
opportunities.
Yeehaw.
Yeah, lots of yeehaw energy.
All right, man. Sick.